Hello and welcome again to everyone who is joining today for the webinar. We are so excited to share more about the partnership between BrokerPro and HubTran. And before we dive in, I just want to cover a few housekeeping items. Today's presentation is going to be recorded and will be made available on hubtran.com as well as both HubTran's and BrokerPro's YouTube pages. All of our attendees are in listen-only mode, but if you have a question or a comment, please feel free to submit your question in the chat, raise your hand, and myself, Joe, and my colleague Josh, who's on the line today, will manage that Q&A as we continue through today's webinar. At the end, Joe and I will provide our contact information should you have any additional questions or feedback after our session today. So let's go ahead and get started. My name's Chrissy Sarber, and I'm a senior account executive at HubTran. I've spent the last 8 years focused on business process optimization. This is after starting my career working in accounts payable. And so I understand the day-to-day challenges of getting your vendors or your carriers paid in a timely manner so that you can invoice your customers in a timely manner, all while battling that mountain of paperwork, validations, approvals, and exceptions, and often complex and siloed systems. And so that's why I'm really, really pleased to have Joe McAlpin, President and CEO of Infinity Software Solutions, joining me today as well. Between Joe's extensive background in the transportation and trucking industry, and my specialization and background in business process innovation, I think we really bring a unique perspective to you today, focused specifically on what you can do to drive efficiency and drive growth in your organization. Today, we're going to go through, we're going to talk about why back office automation matters. We're also going to show you how in practice it works. And then the biggest piece and the most important piece is the impact that it's going to have on your business and the satisfaction of your employees, your customers, and carriers, the people that are driving your business each and every day. And then finally, we're going to wrap up today's session with some clarity around what that first step towards increased efficiency looks like. And our goal is that today's webinar is going to challenge you and your team to really think about the impact that increased efficiency can have on your business's competitive advantage. By leveraging the BrokerPro and HubTran partnership, which is powered by AI and machine learning technology, will foster your opportunity to work smarter and grow your business. So as I mentioned earlier, my background is working within various roles where I was focused on creating and optimizing business processes. My friend Joe has a lifelong and very personal connection to the logistics and transportation industry. And so I'm going to hand the mic over to Joe to share a little bit more about himself, as well as provide some details on all the new and exciting things with BrokerPro.
Thanks, Chrissy. I appreciate it, and especially letting me be a part of your webinar today. A little about myself. I grew up in the transportation industry. Many a summer I found myself riding in the jump seat of my dad's Peterbilt cabover as a young boy. He was a produce hauler, and many times my job was to unload the trailer while he took his rest break. That's why I was really excited when he came off the road and started a trucking company and later on a brokerage. I worked many different aspects of the business over the years until he retired in 2000. Infinity Software was founded later that same year, and our focus has always been on providing forward-thinking transportation software to assist our customers in managing their day-to-day operations. Our goal is to deliver a TMS that is intuitive and affordable, as well as extremely robust. Over the last couple of years, we have invested the majority of our development resources, taking what our customers have requested and implementing into BrokerPro. Now, with more than 20 integration tools, users are able to do more in less time without having to leave their TMS in order to accomplish the task. Our interface with HubTran is a great example of this, Chrissy.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for, kind of walking us through that. And I know many of those that are joining us today are currently BrokerPro customers, and it's clear, our partnership with BrokerPro and just my, the time that I've had where I'm working with Joe, it's clear that he's very focused on making sure that the customers they serve are successful. And that's why we're so excited about this partnership. So now we're going to kind of switch into to going back into why this all matters. Why does back office automation matter? Why does it matter the types of tools and technology that you choose? Is it really that important? And what's the impact? And if you're like a lot of companies, when we think about our back office processes, when I think about my time working in accounts payable, these are processes that are manual and they're time consuming. And this is when I worked in accounts payable 12 years ago, and I'm talking to people today, and often the way that we're processing payables is the exact same way we've been doing it for so long. And they haven't been updated or modernized. But in order in order to remain competitive, for your business to grow, we need to look at every part of business, every piece and every department, and we need to make sure that they're operating at maximum efficiency, especially when we're talking about the people that are involved in the process of accounting, payables, and cash collections, the money that drives your business. And the partnership between BrokerPro and HubTran allows you to leave no stone unturned in your quest to grow your business. So today, as we talk about what we do and how it works and the technology that drives our success, the more important takeaway is not what, features and bells and whistles. And in a little bit, I'm going to go into a demo, and it's going to be high level. But what I want you guys to walk away today is why we're doing what we're doing. Because without that, we really can't deliver value to, BrokerPro and HubTran's many shared customers. So, the BrokerPro and HubTran partnership is going to provide a solution that allows your organization to reduce costs, drive growth, improve employee engagement and onboarding, thinking about moving away from those manual, time-consuming, mundane tasks that, I personally understand, eliminating errors as well. And the biggest piece and the most important piece is accelerating cash and opportunity for your business. And so how does this work? How do we do this? We do this by making the back office faster and more efficient. And we end that back office frustration for transportation companies. HubTran brings everyone together to get documents organized, transactions streamlined, and money moving faster with our AI technology platform. And we do this with an end-to-end integrated workflow that you're going to see today. Carrier documents are going to come into HubTran. Your team can process those documents in HubTran, which allows you to invoice your customers faster and more accurately through our seamless integration with BrokerPro. Now, this graph is as you were talking through and we're going into the demo environment, I really want you to think about, HubTran sits here in the middle. Your carriers are sending communication to your AP team, and HubTran's there in the middle to receive that. HubTran's also receiving information from BrokerPro, and HubTran will then share information with BrokerPro. So think of it as sitting in the middle of that process to make sure that you're able to process your carrier payables quickly, efficiently, and without error. So now that we have a high level understanding of what HubTran and BrokerPro's partnership can do to increase efficiency in the back office, we're going to roll up our sleeves and really, I want to dive into the demo of HubTran where we can show how our innovative solution can unlock new ways of working more effectively. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and switch over here to the demo environment. Okay, you should be able to see my screen. All right. Now, the first thing I want to do here is just to get a lay of the land. Now, what you see is the HubTran dashboard. Think back to that graphic I just showed you on the slide deck where HubTran's sitting in the middle. This is the centralized location for your AP team. This is the single place for your team to process carrier invoices. So no more going back and forth between several applications as many of our BrokerPro and HubTran customers used to do. And as we go through today's demo, I'm going to show you how, but I will speak to, and I really want everyone on today's call to be thinking of the why along the way, be thinking of why efficiency matters for your business and the impact that it can have. Now, in order for us to get here, we need to have a few things established. The first thing has to be the integration in place with your BrokerPro environment. That's very easy to set up. It doesn't take much time at all. The second piece is email forwarding has been set up to allow invoices to come straight into HubTran. Again, think back to that graphic where HubTran was there in the middle. You have an AP inbox where your carriers are already sending invoices and supporting documents. All we need to do is set up an email forwarding rule. The nice thing here is that your carriers do not have to change their behavior. You don't have to worry about saying, okay, now we have a new process. You have to change the way you're submitting invoices. You don't need to do that. That's nice. Your carriers continue to email you invoices and associated documents to your AP inbox, which then gets automatically forwarded into HubTran, and it looks like it looks on my screen here. And so if you're working in AP, you would come into this screen and you can access HubTran from anywhere. And I want to call out just a few things here, these cues here across the top. These are nice big bold letters and numbers because this is a really nice way to have a bird's eye view of what your team needs to do, but they need to accomplish and where they're at in that carrier payable invoice process. We've got new, exception, replies, waiting, and processed. Today, for today's webinar, we're really going to focus on everything here in the new queue, but we'll go into greater detail as we move forward. And then again, I hope that after today's webinar, you'll be interested in learning more and want to set up some time with myself and Joe to really dig into the details and look at all the bells and whistles. Another thing I want to call out really quickly from this dashboard screen are the filters. HubTran provides you with the ability to create custom filters for loads. So if you have a team or individual that focuses on quick pays, or if you have someone who's responsible for processing a specific location or alphabet set of carriers, you can set these up to reflect your business's specific needs. But again, for today, we are going to focus on the new queue. And look at this new queue. From the new queue, before even processing anything, before even opening an email, HubTran has already done many, many things for your team. You can see here that HubTran has identified the load number, the carrier name, the date of receipt, as well as the number of pages attached to the carrier communication. And to begin processing, all I need to do is click in to this record. So here we are in the record. And to begin, everything here in light gray that you see across the top, assign carrier, identify documents, group documents, think of that as the way that your team is going through the carrier payable invoice process today. HubTran has automated everything that you see in light gray. HubTran has identified the carrier. We take in real-time data, load, carrier, and customer data from BrokerPro and associate the email address to the proper carrier. No more looking up carrier names, mistyping carrier names, no more of that. HubTran will automatically do this for you. Your team doesn't need to do this anymore. The next step is identifying the documents. HubTran has automatically identified and labeled all of the documents included in the carrier invoice packet. We do this by utilizing OCR technology, where we're identifying and extracting data from the documents, from the email, from the subject line, from the body, We're extracting information from everything that your carriers are sending you. And our accuracy rate for identifying these documents is in the high 90th percentile. So based on machine learning, we're going to choose those document types for you, but you do have the ability to pick what's best. The next thing that HubTran has done automatically for you is grouped these documents. So here are the documents, the invoices, and the associated documents for these loads. HubTran is intelligent enough to identify that documents are associated to different loads and will group them accordingly. What's nice here is if something isn't right, you can simply drag and drop to update the grouping. The next thing where you see this green circle, this is the assigned loads section. This is where we need human intervention. This is where a member of your team would validate that this load ID matches the invoice in this document group. And the really cool thing here is that we're able to pick up on the references by simply hovering our mouse over the load ID. And this is how your team's going to quickly confirm that the document group matches the load in BrokerPro. And just a quick call out and reminder, everything that you see here in green is all information that's coming in real time from BrokerPro. And yes, you can configure the different references that you can pull over. So all we need to do here is confirm this information and continue, which will allow us to assign these documents to the load in BrokerPro. Now you see here we have an exception, no proof of delivery. So all I need to do here is assign my POD. That exception is now gone. I select save and approve. And what you can see here is it says, and continue to the next document group. Now I want to take a moment to just note the time savings that this will add up over time. So every time your team goes to process a carrier payable, and I did the same thing, you have to go back into the email, download the documents, save the documents, look everything up in the TMS, upload index. That takes time to kind of switch those gears every time you're doing an invoice. So with HubTran, it'll automatically send you to the very next one if there is, if there's different groups of documents here, which is a huge time savings. And think about how many times throughout the day you do that, it does add up. So I'm going to select Save and Approve here, which allows us to assign these documents to the load in BrokerPro, and it's going to take me directly to the next document group. Now, before I move forward and I show you how in real time you could process a carrier payable in HubTran, I want to say that what Joe and I are showing you today is really an introduction to our robust offering. Some things that I'd like to follow up and cover with you individually is that, HubTran customers gain additional efficiencies and additional cost savings through key features that we won't touch on today, but, carrier communication management, being able to communicate with your carriers within the HubTran platform, document annotation, where you can crop, annotate, duplicate, redact documents as necessary. And we also have reporting and rules functionality that allows your team, allows you to manage your team's workload with real-time data. But for the sake of today's demo, we won't dig into these, but I do encourage you to set up some time with us after the demo so I can dig into all the bells, whistles, and benefits of the HubTran platform and talk specifically about how HubTran would work for your business. Okay, so now I want to wrap up the demo portion of today's webinar by just showing you how quickly we can process a carrier payable in HubTran. And full disclosure, this is kind of like the grand finale to what I hope you will see as a better, more efficient, and more accurate way to work. All right, so let's process this next one. And remember, no time lost in going back to our inbox, downloading additional documents. And just think about all of how, think about how those seconds saved add up throughout the course of your workday. Again, a reminder, here we are in this next document group. Everything you see in the section in green, again, is information being pulled directly from BrokerPro into HubTran via the integration. I don't need to assign the carrier. I don't need to identify the documents. I don't need to group the documents. HubTran has done that automatically for me. All I need to do is confirm this load assignment. I can do that by simply hovering over these values. And all I need to do is select continue. It's going to take me to that next screen. This is where HubTran is going to show any exceptions that we may have. Again, no proof of delivery found. Need to come down here to my BOL where it looks like someone signed as the proof of delivery. So all I had to do was confirm the load assignment, assign the proof of delivery, select save and approve, and that sends me back to the dashboard. And that was pretty easy. As you can see, I was able to come here and to a single source to process an invoice with just a few clicks and no time at all. Now, I'm going to go back into our presentation where Joe's going to talk a little bit more, because here is where I always get the question when I'm speaking with BrokerPro and HubTran customers, potential customers, is, okay, now what happens? So Joe's going to, which is why I'm so excited that Joe's on the call today, so he can show us, what happens, so he can show you what's going to happen once an invoice, approved invoice and associated documents are sent from HubTran over to BrokerPro.
Thanks, Chrissy. Actually, there's very little, if anything, you've done in BrokerPro at this point. You've already done it. The broker's already done it back over in the HubTran interface. But to kind of give you an idea of where the process starts, once users activate the interface in BrokerPro, we walk them through a short setup and training exercise. On this slide here, we have enabled the integration and told BrokerPro to attach document sent over from HubTran to both the customer and the carrier that is assigned to the load, as well as the load itself. We can also tell it to auto email the invoice. Here we're looking at a shipper that has been designated to be invoiced through HubTran, because you may not invoice all customers. They may require you to mail them snail mail proof of deliveries and invoices. So this customer has been marked. Users are also able to designate which customers are to receive electronic invoices. And on the next slide, once loads for this particular customer, R&B Foods, are in the deliver status, they're waiting for the carrier to email documents to HubTran for processing, such as the freight bill, rate confirmation, proof of delivery, bill of lading, etc. Earlier, we saw Chrissy walk us through processing the loads inside the HubTran portal. Once that is completed and approved by the broker, the data and the documents are sent over to BrokerPro. And then this is what happens. So really, you don't do anything in BrokerPro. Once the broker has processed them in HubTran, it comes over and places the carrier's invoice number, the date received, populates the due date, and then at the top of the hour, it will email invoices to the customer. It'll change the status of the load to invoice and put the invoice date on it. So all this kind of happens automatically in that standpoint. And also at the same time, all the associated load documents are attached to the load. As the customer and carrier profile was selected, it puts them there as well. So it's pretty simple and intuitive. I'm gonna hand it back over to Chrissy to talk about the impact BrokerPro and HubTran have on your customers' business and daily operations.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. I appreciate that. And so we wanted to really show that, without a doubt, our BrokerPro and HubTran customers are working faster, more accurately, and more efficiently than the competition. And I know we've got our celebrity guest on the call today. Rachel, I won't call you out, but we've got Rachel joining us today, who was kind enough just to provide us some thoughts on her experience with working with BrokerPro and HubTran. And to note as well, our customers, they're representing nearly half of the top 100 logistics companies in the nation. And, Rachel's kind words, as well as, the rest of HubTran customers, they're excited about, allowing their processes and to be able to operate seamlessly, all while being able to create a better experience for their customers, their carriers, and their employees. And finally, before we get into outlining what you can do if you're interested in learning more about the BrokerPro and HubTran partnership, I'd like to open the floor for any questions that anyone on the call today has for Joe and myself at this time. Feel free to type your questions in the chat, or if you raise your hands, one of our panelists will be able to unmute your mic. And we'll do our very best to get to all the questions. If we don't get to everything, we'll make sure to follow up directly so that we address all of the inquiries today. Okay, it's a pretty quiet crowd. That's all right. And Joe and I want to wrap things up with everyone on the call today. We're inviting you to work circles around your competitors by joining the back office revolution. And I want everyone to take a look at the time today. We booked an hour of your time to go through this introduction. And the point that I want to make is that, time is a very finite resource that we all have. And by leveraging tools like BrokerPro and HubTran will allow you to get more time back in your day. So Joe and I want to gift you some time back in your day. Think about what you can do. Think about what more you could get done. Could you take a quick walk around the block? We want you and your team to be able to focus on growing your business, creating environments where employees and carriers and customers are happy. And we're excited with the opportunity to speak with everyone on the call today. I did get a question from John. Is there an integration cost? No, there is not an integration cost from the HubTran side, nor from the BrokerPro side. It's really easy to get started and to get set up. From the HubTran piece, we have no contracts and no startup fees, and you only pay HubTran when you start utilizing the platform. Every time, I selected save and approve, and I said that I was going to be sending some invoices and associated documents out into BrokerPro, that's 50 cents. So we keep it simple and we keep it easy. So it's 50 cents per invoice process. So if you're processing 10,000 invoices a month, your bill to HubTran is 5,000. If you're processing 1,000 invoices a month, it's $500. Matt Wilson, yes, I will be sending out a recording of the webinar today. I will be following up with all of the attendees. If you would like to schedule time with myself and Joe to continue the conversation, we would really enjoy that, but I'll make sure that you get a copy of the webinar. So with that, we hope that what you've seen today has inspired you to consider the impact that increased efficiency can have on your bottom line. And if you're interested in learning more, please reach out. We are here to help accelerate your success. And so on behalf of the BrokerPro and HubTran teams, thank you for your time, and we look forward to connecting with you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.